Well, here we are. It's the next week. The week after last week, which was one doozy of a week, shall we say. We are smack dab in the middle of eclipse season. We've come through the full moon and the blood moon that it was, eclipse on the Sunday. Tuesday came along with a 999 portal. Fabulous. That didn't rock everybody. And then Wednesday, we had an enormous event take place, and the whole world is in shock and awe, and some are in other places altogether. 9/11 came along right after that, of course, to impact us with more fear, upset, and lower vibrational energies. Now, remember, everything is energy, people. We have got to keep that in mind. This is, at the end of the day, all about where we are as an energetic vibration, okay? At the whole of humanity, literally, where we are. We have been living in fear, enslaved by fear, for a very, very long time, and that time is coming to an end, and the forces that have kept us in those places of fear don't want it to come to an end. So they're doing anything and everything they can to keep us in that place of fear so that we stay there and that they're happy. Well, as happy as you can be when you're evil. But anyway, so we've had this incredible event take place. Last Wednesday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on live TV in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, and millions, of course, who may have been watching as a live stream, perhaps. All the world's a stage. That's what I want to say. All the world's a stage. And when you are in the know, you know. Okay, so like there's a lot of layers playing out here right now, and everybody's getting something from this. Okay, everybody's getting something. Tragedy. Doesn't matter whether you believe in all of the quote-unquote conspiracy theories that run around the internet and other places, run amok in our minds and our whatnot. And I'm telling you, most of those theories are not theories. They're actual facts that just have yet to be proven. And the problem with conspiracies is because it's a plot to keep something hidden, it's very difficult to find the evidence to prove it. So here we sit with a number of conspiracy theories throughout the last 100 years, and longer, believe it or not, that we don't know the truth to, because they're very well designed so they are kept in the space that is hidden. But there are a lot of people who know, and there's always truth to the stuff that people talk about. Just let's keep that in mind, folks. So, as I move forward here, there's a lot of facets to this experience. And it doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter where you sit in the spectrum or on the spectrum of our life and our reality here, you're going to have an opinion about this in some way, shape, or form. And whether you're in the religious section of the world that speaks to, how devout a Christian he was and how dedicated he was to, preaching the Bible and living up to the moral standards of the Bible and all that, or whether you're political, because that's the other aspect. I mean, this guy mixed everything you're not supposed to mix into one bowl and then fed it to people when they asked for it. People came up to the mic. Remember that, right? They came up to the mic. They wanted to engage. This man wanted to open a conversation with people, to have a real conversation that you could speak truth with, without everybody flipping shit about everything all the damn time. Like, everybody's so friggin' sensitive all the time now. For the last 30 years, you can't say anything to anybody without them being offended. And the fact is, if somebody can offend you, that means you've given them power in your world to make you feel a certain way. And that just isn't how we roll in some certain circles. But anyway, so let me go back to where we're talking about. Everybody's getting something. So conspiracy theory people, religious people are getting something, political people are getting something. Those who really deep dive into the stuff that is, energetic in nature and all that stuff, we are recognizing what's really happening here at the base of it all as an outcome, okay? We're all just pawns. We're all running around here, meat suits, but really we're all energy people. We're all energy beings who are here vibrating at certain vibrational levels and certain frequencies in it. And if they can keep us in a lower place, they've got us beat, okay? So I wrote some notes down because there's so many things. I'm seeing so very much out there. So for the conspiracy theorists, for the religious folk, for the political folk, For those of you who don't know a damn thing about him or anything he spoke about or any of that stuff, whatever. Let's just tell you from multiple points of view here what you can see unfolding for humanity. Okay, because this is really what it all is about. There are forces that have tried to keep us in a place of, fear and enslavement for a very long time now. Their time is coming to an end, as I've just finished saying. But they are desperate to keep whatever they can generated through us, because they can't do it themselves, through us, to keep it going for as long as they can, right? So they're going to get, like desperate in their actions, and so some of this stuff is like really well played out. So the evil ones, the dark side, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, the Anunnaki, Satan and his disciples, it don't matter what, the dark forces, okay? We have light and dark. Light and dark. That's it. That's why when everybody talks about the polarities and duality and all that stuff, it always comes down to one of two things. Light, dark, or gender, male, female. We're not going to go there, but that's part of what the whole problem is here, right? There's this huge debate going on. So, what do we see happening here? More division? More division. But let's look at that for what it actually is giving us. Yes, there's more division. You're seeing who's on whose side. Now there's no more convolution. We are finally able to see, really divide and use that line to see who's where. Because you're going to have a lot of people who were somewhere in the middle make a choice. At this point, this is the push that came to shove. To push them to that shove. That is, I have to make a choice. I've heard people talking about picking up Bibles. Never bought a Bible before. All of a sudden want to pick up a Bible. Not really religious, but I got to pick up a Bible. Want to talk about thinking about God. Things like that with people. Like, this has created a huge upsurge in people wanting to connect to God. How's that a bad thing? That's what Charlie wanted, people to connect to God. He wanted people. He said if he ever wanted to be remembered for anything, it was courage for his faith. Not courage and his faith. He said courage for his faith. It takes guts to stand up in front of millions and millions of people who oppose your beliefs even, or your thoughts about what you're about to say, and still say it anyway. And there have been others in the past who've done that, and they've ended up in similar ways. So let's look at the pattern there, okay? Because there's a pattern there, and there's no coincidence, mistakes, or accidents to any of this stuff. Fear, hate, division for all people. On the other side of that, it's a push towards love and compassion for all people. Because now all of a sudden, people who, again, were very, ambiguous or ambivalent, whatever, about that, they were somewhere in the middle, didn't even care, were completely complacent about it all, they just didn't give about anything but themselves, are being called to, I've seen videos of people who would consider themselves to be, rivals of Charlie, weeping, weeping, men, grown men, crying. Joe Rogan himself was in the middle of an interview with Charlie Sheen, and both of them were stunned into silence. Joe Rogan more so than Charlie Sheen, who can figure that, but couldn't say a word hardly for quite a length of time. People had to jump in. Charlie had to start. Like, people were instantly devastated when they discovered what had happened. Now, again, at the base level, what we see, a man gets shot in broad daylight in front of everybody, including his wife and children. That's brutal. If that's not a wake-up call for everybody about what the state that we are in, I wouldn't know what would be. I'd hate to see what the other people might think. So that's grassroots, right? That's at the base level. Then we add the conspiracy stuff in. He made a lot of comments. He's upset a lot of people. And there's a lot of people who believe in the, the international affairs and the global world of politics in a way that is, often conveyed in entertainment, right? Movies and books and things like that, where they talk about espionage and who's plotting this and what government agencies have secret societies and connections to this, that, or the other thing. Words like Mossad come in, and Israeli connections and things like that. And he upset a lot of people. So, hey, there's a lot of people who believe that they may have been responsible for him this poor child that they patsied out is no different than Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm telling you right now, the whole thing. This ranks on the scale of MLK Jr. rather, and of JFK and others like him, and even like I said, Joshua. Right? Like people laughed when he was shot. Right? People laughed when Jesus was crucified. People laughed when JFK was taken down. There were people who laughed. Most of the world was in absolute shock and awe and horror, but just know that there were people out there who were celebrating, just as they are now. Disgusting, deplorable human beings, if they are that. They certainly don't have a soul, so I'm not sure how much human they have in them. But anyway, we are all parts of God, right? We're all fractions of God, hues of man, mostly spirit. And that's the whole point to the energy stuff. Okay, so let's carry on here because I could take this into a whole lot of different ranges here. But a whole thing, right? Grief, devastation, all of a sudden people's humanity starts to show again. And despite our differences and our disagreements, it surfaces and people are coming together. And even those who didn't like him are saying he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve to die, especially not like that. Amazing. That's an amazing quality. You know what that does for the energetic field of our planet? When all kinds of people start to create a resonance of compassion and love, and it overtakes fear and hate. What if this is actually part of the plan? What if, as diabolical as it is, it serves a beautifully divine purpose? I mean, because all things do, but what if in a way that is twisted and distorted, this is their way of helping us to do the job that we've come to do here? This is an event that all players participated in. Some think he's still alive and in witness protection. I'm going to tell you something. For 50, 60, 70 years now, the CIA has done incredible things with masks. You would not know somebody's wearing a mask. And they look so perfectly like the person they are impersonating. You would never know. Men can look like beautiful women, and you never know it. And then they take the mask off, and they're a guy. Even have a beard. Grab that. I'm telling you, this stuff is real. Just because you don't know about it and haven't been taught about it doesn't mean it's not out there and it's not existing, because it is. And the fact is, they're not going to tell you what they're up to. And anything you do find on the internet, by the way, you can bet your ass that they are 50 years ahead of you ahead of that in technology. They're only going to give you what they are absolutely considering obsolete. There's no use and value for them at all anymore. They'll let you have it, because then you're going to go, oh, wow, that's really, really cool. And yet really, again, they're 50 years ahead of us. They're working on alien technology stuff. Like, come on. Oh, don't even get me started on the alien stuff. That's a whole other conversation. But let's carry on with this Charlie stuff, shall we? So some do feel it was a fake assassination. He could have been wearing a mask. I know he was talking through the mic, but you know what? You never know. You never know. And let's face it, a lot of weird stuff was going on around him too. So if it was a real Charlie Kirk sitting there, right? What's with the guys behind him doing all these weird hand signals? Like the one guy especially? That's umpire shit, man. That's like first base, second base, throw it in, curving it, whatever you do. Like those are all, that's deep state right now. I don't care. Like, yeah, maybe it's trained in their security stuff, but who is he? Who is he signaling to? Another guy way the heck back? No, please, give me a break. Shot came from the left anyway, as far as I can tell. They're saying it came from that little Patsy kid. Tyler Robinson, whatever the hell his name. Come on. Oh, and they're going to link it up because he had a transgender partner or something he was engaged. You know what? The whole thing's bullshit. Just saying. Like any story they give you is bullshit. So, if he said too much and the Mossad didn't like it, they're going to take him out. And if the ones that are in command of everything, say even higher up in the deep state, don't want them to do that, because that means that that's a move on the chessboard that they win with, right? That they can get closer to the outcome with. So they're not going to let them have that. So even if that is a real deal, they're not going to let the Mossad take him out. Are you kidding? They're going to protect him, throw some sort of other guy in there with a mask on, looks just like him, sounds like him, probably in the back somewhere. You know, there wasn't an ambulance to be seen on the whole campus. An event like that. And even if he does wear armor and he's somewhat protected, like there's no ambulance anywhere. They whisked him away to an SUV, a black SUV. Why? Don't you find that odd? I do. I do. Apparently he was bleeding out from the neck, for God's sakes. You're going to put him in a black SUV and there's not an ambulance to be had anywhere? Come on. Anyway. All the world is a stage. Did you catch that video of the wife, Erica Kirk, at the casket? Now listen, I've not lost my husband. But I'm going to tell you, especially if I had one as prominent as that one, you're not coming within 1.5 feet of my face as I say goodbye to him in his casket? Are you friggin' for real? What kind of show is that? Kissing him, and interesting rings she was wearing, by the way. Happen to notice those, anybody? There's some value to that nugget, too, by the way. There's a lot of nuggets on those rings, too. Just saying, just saying. Got to pay attention, folks, because again, it doesn't matter where you sit in this equation, in this event experience. Whatever. There's something here for you. You're either going to recognize it's time for you to get back to your own divine connection. It's time for you to wake up to the fact that something bigger is happening here. Something way bigger than most of us even know, can fathom and understand. It doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't matter what it is. I'll tell you right now. They need us to buy into the program. So, we'll see what's happening. You know, there's supposed to be a memorial service that everybody's going to go to, whatever. Like, just watch people's body movements. You know, the woman who gave that speech after the experience with the casket there, there's some interesting similarities, but there's a lot of questionables as far as I'm concerned. And why does she say they, the ones who were responsible? So she's implying something more than a young one shooter, isn't she? She's playing into the game too. She wants everybody to believe, like, what if they are in witness protection program? What if he's not really dead? What if the whole thing was just a big old setup? It is possible, you know. A lot of stuff like that goes on and we don't know it because we're programmed. We believe what's on the TV. Don't watch the news. Don't watch the news. It's propaganda. It's all filtered. They're just telling you what they want you to see, know, and hear. That's it. And if you only have one side of the story, you're only getting one perspective, which is more than likely biased to the negative experience. Why? Because TV is television, and it's supposed to tell a story that keeps you enslaved. The only way to really do that as an energetic being with all the power of the universe at your disposal is to keep you in a lower vibration like fear, anger, hate, grief. If I'm not mistaken, well, grief is at the bottom, the very bottom of the emotional scale. Check it out, David Hawkins, emotional scale. By the way, distractions. Again, I keep telling people, when the bunny's being waved at you over here to get you to smile at the camera, because Buddy's going to flash you in a second and blind you, pay attention. Look around you. More is going on. Do you know what happened? You don't even know. You know why? They're not even going to tell you. You know what happened on that night? Everybody's world, the whole world is mourning. Charlie Kirk. Stunned, shocked. Oh! Someone assassinated Charlie Kirk. Do you know what happened that evening? There was a motion tabled in the U.S. states, in the United States and the Congress. A table vote, which means they're going to put something on the table and they're never going to look at it again. And you know what it was? The Epstein files. And you know what the vote was? Yeah, 51-49 to table the fricking files. And you know what? Apparently, from what I heard, two of them were Republicans. Two of them are on Trump's team. Two of them, Rand Paul and Josh Hawley, tabled the Epstein files so that no one will ever get a look at what's on those lists or what's on those files. Did you know that happened the same night Charlie Kirk was killed? Go figure. Isn't that interesting? Do you know how many people are going to be pissed about that. The whole world's been waiting for those files to be unveiled, right? To be revealed. And now they're never going to be opened. Go figure. And you know, you don't want to know what's on those files. And that's why they're trying so damn hard to keep you from knowing. Because the minute you know who, what, where, and how it was all done, by who was doing it, and all that stuff, it will rock the world bigger and more devastatingly than Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, I'm not trying to trivialize it by any means. The man, you know, the man, the myth, the legend, the image of Charlie Kirk is no more. And regardless of where he goes now or what he's doing now, whether he's on the other side, and I've heard reports from other psychics who've said they've already encountered his consciousness, his spirit on the other side. So there's some validity to that too. But here's the other part. We live in a world where everything you believe is what you get. Everything you believe in is what you believe in. Which means that if that's the concept and you have bought into the fact that he is dead, then you at some point are going to find yourself encountering his spirit. It only stands to reason. The universe gives you what you ask for every single time. So finally, you're snoring down here. No matter who's responsible for what actually took place, the result is the same. Everything is energy. Here we go. I'm going to wrap this up for you. Everything is energy, and the energies of love and compassion are being ignited and activated in people. People that weren't showing them before. We got so complacent with things, so detached from things, disassociated, and so desensitized. We'd forgotten our humanity. We'd lost our humanity. That's why there's so much confusion about who we are and what we're here for. Until now, love always wins. Love always wins. Love is light, and light dispels darkness, and the fear is the darkness we've been living in. And the light of love and compassion is strong right now, strong enough to overcome and dispel an enormous amount of darkness on this planet. So it doesn't matter what happened or who did it or any of that. We are blessed in this moment with incredibly powerful opportunities for all of us to embody love, compassion, and light, and to lift this planet up out of the darkness that she's been immersed in for an incredibly long time. That's our minds, right? It's our minds that are going to do this. We can shift the love. We can shift this world, rather, using love. And others, they'll remain in fear if they choose to, and that's okay. They're allowed. Let them. That lower density, that lower vibrational stuff, it won't last forever. And neither will they. And that's okay. In that space, their eternal souls will be reabsorbed into the void eventually after a long haul home through space dust return or something similar to that, and they will join the rest of us in a place of love and light, in a space of light, back in the light. You see, I've talked to people about this. Galactic science teaches us that there are layers and dimensional spaces, and of course, there is only a certain density that the evil ones were able to actually implement darkness and actually block ourselves off, block us off from our light, from our true source of who we are. And so it's been, since that has been in place, that we have been dealing with this stuff, but it's coming to an end. It is coming to an end in the most incredible ways. I have said for the last 5 years that the plan did not unfold in any way like I thought it was going to. Not in any way like I thought. If you'd asked me, told me, whatever, all those years ago, that this was how it was going to unfold with COVID and all of this stuff, war, like, the Ukraine war and all this stuff, the Israelis, I would have, yeah, okay, the Revelations talk about it in more detail than we'd care to admit, I have to say. But ultimately, folks, this is what we're here for. We're here to keep and maintain our light. Hold it strong so this planet can literally elevate, transcend, and ascend out of the darkness that she's been immersed in. Away from the fear that we are not naturally in alignment with. Not at all. So, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Because when it all does come out eventually, most of the stuff we bought into and believed in, we'll discover is not real, is not true. There is a truth. There is an absolute truth to it all. And we're getting there. We're working our way back to it as we peel away all of the stuff that is not. All of the layers of the onion that is not who we naturally, truly are at our core. It's about getting back to the natural stuff. Natural law, natural living, natural being. That being said, food for thought.